House Chairperson, yesterday, South Africa's future was put at stake.
Order, honourable members. Order, honourable members.
Shortly before the Cabinet meeting yesterday, the President informed me that he intended to remove Deputy Minister Andrew Whitfield as a Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry and Competition. I requested 24 hours to speak to Whitfield and to inform my party. However, before I could do so, just 3 hours later, Whitfield received a letter informing him of his removal. The apparent reason for this sudden and ill-considered decision is that Whitfield did not obtain permission to travel abroad earlier this year. But the facts in this matter contradict this flimsy reasoning. In fact, on the 12th of February, Deputy Minister Whitfield had written to the President requesting permission to travel. 10 days later, he had not received a reply or any response whatsoever about the trip. Whitfield subsequently wrote to the President to apologize if he had caused offence. Again, he received no response. Then yesterday, months after the incident, and without a further word on it, the President unilaterally removed a DA Deputy Minister without even giving his largest coalition partner an opportunity to discuss it with the member or his party. Now, according to the President's spokesperson, this move is not part of a broader reshuffle. And there can therefore be no other conclusion to be drawn that this is a calculated assault on the second largest party in the governing coalition. But what makes matters worse is that this unilateral action is a result and a product of a flagrant double standard. While a DA Deputy Minister is removed for not getting a response to seeking permission to travel, there are members in the Cabinet who are implicated in the VBS scandal and looting. There are members in the Cabinet who, despite apparently misleading Parliament over an attempt to deploy corrupt cadres to CETA boards, remains in the Cabinet. Serial underperformers and people implicated in state capture continue to sit around the Cabinet table. Now, instead of being summarily fired, like DM Whitfield was, these ministers get an opportunity to submit a report to the President on their behaviour. In the past, even ministers who had serious public protective findings against them were merely admonished or had their pay docked. Yet a DA Deputy Minister is dismissed with the flimsiest of excuses. Are the people of South Africa expected to accept that fraudsters, corruption accused and Zondo accused are protected while Deputy Minister Andrew Whitfield is removed? Perhaps there's something even deeper at play here. Like all DA ministers and deputy ministers, contrary to what the Honourable Tambo said, Andrew Whitfield was succeeding in his job. He had opposed the attempt to make suspect appointments to the IDC board. He was raising uncomfortable questions about the Transformation Fund and the opportunities it provides for looting. And yes, he was asking the uncomfortable questions about the Lotto tender award. Now, given this flagrant double standard, one is left with no choice but to conclude that hard-working DA members of the executive are fired for fighting corruption, not for committing corruption, for being good at their jobs rather than incompetent. Now, if this situation is not corrected, it will go down as the greatest political mistake in modern South African history. And so, seeing the President is now cleaning house, I would like to suggest that he sweeps in front of his own doorstep before he remove a DA Deputy Minister for doing his job, but isn't prepared to move other ministers and deputy ministers for not doing as theirs, that is hypocrisy of the highest form, and it cannot be brooked. The ball is now then in the President's court, and he must show us now that he's a man of his word. Madam Speaker, it would be very easy for a party that had been treated with such disdain from a coalition partner to vote against this bill today. But precisely because we are nothing like the ANC, the DA will always put South Africa's interests over narrow party interests. We will vote for this bill today, not for politics, but for South Africa. And in doing so, we will demonstrate to all of our coalition partners that when we give our word, you can rely on it, and that when we say we're going to do something, we will do it. However, this is now a moment of truth. Within the next 48 hours, we will find out if the DA stands alone as the only party that can be trusted to govern responsibly and take South Africa forward. Thank you very much.
Hello, South Africa. This is the tale of DA Deputy Minister Andrew Whitfield versus ANC Minister Senzo Mchunu, a saga so steeped in double standards, it's practically a masterclass in political hypocrisy. If you're sick of seeing the same old ANC shenanigans, where the rules seem to bend for some but snap like a twig for others, then stick around, because we're unpacking the whole mess, piece by infuriating piece. Let's get into it. So it's June 2025, and the South African political scene is already a circus, with a government of national unity, GNU, teetering like a house of cards in a windstorm. The ANC still clinging to power after their 40% showing in the 2024 elections is trying to keep their coalition partners, like the DA, from jumping ship. But then, out of nowhere, President Cyril Ramaphosa drops a bombshell. He fires DA Deputy Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, Andrew Whitfield, faster than you can say unauthorized trip. The reason? Whitfield took a trip to the US without Ramaphosa's express permission. Sounds cut and dried, right? Wrong. This is where the stench of double standards starts wafting in, and it's rank, buddy. Let's break it down. Whitfield, a DA stalwart, was part of a delegation to the US in February 2025, trying to patch up South Africa's rocky relationship with Washington. Now, the rules, as laid out in the ministerial handbook, say ministers and deputies need the president's nod for international travel. Fair enough. Whitfield, being a by-the-book kind of guy, wrote to Ramaphosa on 12 February, asking for permission. 10 days later, with no response from the presidency, he went ahead with the trip. Big mistake apparently, because 4 months later, on June 25, 2025, Ramaphosa sacked him, citing this clear violation of the rules as the reason. In a statement dripping with self-righteousness, Ramaphosa said, Mr. Whitfield was removed because he undertook an international visit without the permission of the president. His travel to the United States was a clear violation of the rules and established practices governing the conduct of members of the executive. Sounds like a fair cop, doesn't it? Except hang on a second, what about the timing? Why wait 4 months to fire the guy if it was such a heinous crime? And why? Oh, why? Does it feel like the ANC is wielding the rule book like a weapon against the DA while letting their own ministers skate by on far worse? Enter Senzo Mchunu, the ANC's police minister, who's been caught up in allegations that make Whitfield's little jaunt look like a Sunday drive to the shops. Fast forward to July 2025, and KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi drops a bombshell that shakes the nation to its core. At a press briefing on 6 July, Mkhwanazi accuses Mchunu of being in bed with criminal syndicates, meddling in investigations into political killings, and even disbanding a task force set up in 2018 to probe these murders in KZN. He claims Mchunu was getting financial support from a dodgy businessman, Vusimuzi Matlala, who had a lucrative police contract until his arrest for attempted murder in May. Mkhwanazi even brought receipts, WhatsApp messages and proof of payments allegedly linking Mchunu to Matlala. Now, you'd think Ramaphosa, with his zero tolerance for rule-breaking stance, would have had Mchunu out the door faster than you can say pala pala. But no. Instead, on July 13, 2025, Ramaphosa announces that Mchunu is being placed on a leave of absence while a judicial commission, led by Acting Deputy Chief Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga, investigates. A leave of absence, with full pay, mind you, while the nation waits for reports in 3 and 6 months. Mchunu, cool as a cucumber, denies the allegations, calling them insinuations made without evidence and pledging his commitment to the process. So, let's get this straight. Whitfield gets the boot for an unapproved trip, but Mchunu, accused of colluding with criminals and derailing murder investigations, gets a paid holiday? Can you smell the double standards yet? Or do you need a hazmat suit? The DA, understandably livid, cried foul. DA leader John Steenhuisen, in a fiery statement, called Whitfield's firing a calculated political assault and gave Ramaphosa a 48-hour ultimatum to sack ANC ministers implicated in corruption, like Higher Education Minister Nobukhle Nkebani and Human Settlements Minister Thembi Simelane, or face grave consequences. Steenhuisen didn't stop there. He pointed out that Whitfield was doing his job, sniffing out corruption in the Trade Department, particularly around a shady 180 billion rands national lottery tender linked to ANC heavyweights. Like all DA ministers and deputy ministers, Andrew Whitfield was succeeding at his job, Steenhuisen said. He had opposed an attempt to make suspect appointments. He was standing in the way of the looting that will follow from the Transformation Fund. The DA even suggested Whitfield's sacking was less about the trip and more about him asking too many questions about ANC cronies. And you know what? That tracks. Why else would Ramaphosa sit on the issue for months, only to act with lightning speed when it suited him? Now, let's talk about the ANC's track record, because this isn't the first time they've played fast and loose with accountability. Ramaphosa himself cited precedent for Whitfield's firing, pointing to Nelson Mandela dismissing Winnie Madikizela Mandela in 1995, and Thabo Mbeki axing Nosizwe Madlala Routledge in 2007, both for unauthorized travel. Fair enough. But what about the ANC ministers who've dodged the bullet for far worse? Remember Nosizwe Mapisa Nkakula, the former Speaker of Parliament, who was charged with corruption and money laundering in 2024 but faced no immediate sacking? Or how about David Mahlobo, accused of dodgy dealings during his time as State Security Minister, yet still floating around in cabinet roles? And don't get me started on Gwidi Mantashe, who's been linked to all sorts of allegations but remains untouchable. Then there's the case of the same Nosizwe Mapisa Nkakula, the defense minister at the time, who took an Air Force plane to Zimbabwe or the DRC to pick up her daughter's boyfriend without permission. What did she get? A slap on the wrist and a reprimand. No firing, no fuss, just a pat on the back and a don't do it again, love. Meanwhile, Whitfield's out on his ear for a trip he requested permission for, with no response from the presidency. It's like the ANC's got one rulebook for themselves and another for everyone else. And here's where it gets even more infuriating. South Africa's drowning in corruption. Transparency International ranks us 82nd on their Corruption Perception Index, and we've got one of the highest murder rates in the world, with 5,727 murders reported from January to March 2025 alone. The ANC's been promising to clean up their act since forever, but what do we get? More scandals, more cover-ups, and more ministers like Mchunu, who are allegedly cozy with criminals while the country burns. Ordinary South Africans on social media are fuming. One user put it bluntly: when it was time to decisively act against Deputy Minister Andrew Whitfield, Cyril Ramaphosa didn't waste time. He showed leadership, firmness, and urgency. Now the entire nation is watching. Will the president show that same energy against Minister Senzo Mchunu? Good question, mate. Why the double standards? Why does Whitfield get the chop while Mchunu gets a cushy timeout? Some reckon it's because Mtunu's a key Ramaphosa ally, a big shot in the ANC's KZN stronghold, and firing him would rock the boat before the 2027 ANC elective conference. Political analyst by name Goodenough Mashego told SABC News that Ramaphosa might not fire Mchunu because of his role in securing KZN votes for the ANC. Others, like the MK Party's Abel Tau, went further, alleging Mtunu's untouchable because he's helped cover up Ramaphosa's own Pala Pala scandal. It cannot be that South Africa is used for you scratch my back, I scratch yours, in a criminal way, Tau said. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this just politics as usual, or is something deeper at play? That's the million-rand question, and it's why this story's got everyone so worked up. The DA's not taking it lying down either. They've laid criminal charges against Mchunu for allegedly lying to Parliament about his ties to another shady businessman, Brown Mogotsi. They've also pulled out of Ramaphosa's national dialogue and vowed to vote against budgets for departments led by corruption-tainted ANC ministers. It's a bold move, but will it change anything? Or will the ANC just keep protecting their own while throwing coalition partners under the bus? Let's pause for a second. What do you reckon? Is this just a case of the ANC flexing their muscle, or is there a bigger conspiracy here? Drop a comment below and let me know what you think, because this is the kind of thing that makes you wonder who's really running the show in South Africa. And don't go anywhere, because we're not done peeling back the layers of this rotten onion. The real kicker is how this saga exposes the ANC's failure to tackle corruption head-on. For years they've promised to root out the rot, but South Africa's still a mess. Crime's through the roof, with KZN a hotspot for political killings, exactly the kind Mtunu's accused of shielding. The police service is a shambles, with 4 out of 5 national commissioners since 2000 booted for corruption or incompetence. And yet, Ramaphosa's response to Mtunu's allegations is to set up a commission that'll take months to report back, while Whitfield's gone in a heartbeat for a paperwork slip-up. Please hit that like button and share this with your mates, because the more people know about this, the harder it is for the ANC to sweep it under the rug. And let's not forget the human cost here. So, where does this leave us? The DA's in a tough spot. They can't just walk away from the GNU without tanking the coalition, but they can't keep taking hits like this either. Steenhuisen's already hinted at a motion of no confidence if Ramaphosa doesn't clean house. Meanwhile, the MK Party, EFF, and others are piling on, demanding Mtunu's head and calling out Ramaphosa's selective justice. But will anything change? Or will the ANC keep playing their game of favourites, protecting their own while the rest of us pay the price? Here's the truth, South Africa. This is bigger than Whitfield or Mchunu. It's about a government that's lost its way, a president who picks and chooses when to enforce the rules, and a system that lets corruption fester while good people get shafted. So, what's it gonna take to fix this mess? Will you sit back and let the ANC carry on with their nonsense, or are you ready to make some noise? I say it's time we demand better. Better leaders, better accountability, and a bloody better future for this country we all love. Right, here's what I need you to do. If this story's got you as riled up, then join the channel membership to keep this conversation going. Support us with a super thanks donation, or just let the ads play for at least 30 seconds. It's how we keep the lights on. And don't you dare scroll away without subscribing, liking, sharing, and dropping a comment. It costs you nothing, takes 2 seconds, and sends a message to the powers that be that we're watching. So, go on, do it now, hit that button and let's make some noise together.